Welcome to Second Sunday Forum, created by the Peace and Social Order Committee of the West Falmouth Preparative Quaker Meeting that's on Cape Cod. We acknowledge that we're on Wampanoag land. Today is Sunday, November 12th, 2023, and the program will commence at 12:30 and run approximately till 2:30. It's being recorded, and you can put questions in the chat and mute and unmute yourself as needed when responding. Today's topic is an introduction to the reconciliation leadership, a methodology to reconcile relationships and building trusting communities. Our speaker is Virginia Swain, who is from Friends Meeting at Cambridge and helped her design and implement this program of reconciliation leadership, which she did at the United Nations for 30 years. And after 30 years working in her 80th year, she's gratefully offering the program back to the New England Yearly Meeting of Quakers. She's the author of My Soul's Journey to Redefine Leadership, A Phoenix Rises from the Ashes of 9/11. It's on Audible and Xlibris, and it was 2017 and 22. The Zoom talk participants will be introduced to a practice of reconciliation leadership, an overview of the program that will begin in early 2024 through New England Yearly Meeting. Most of the workshop will be an experiential exercise in which participants engage in imaging and visioning developed by Quaker Elder and Peacebuilder Elise Boulding, one of the key tools of reconciliation leadership. Please have your paper and colored markers ready for the exercise. More about Virginia Swain can be found at different websites, which you'll find on the flyer that you signed up on. She's worked on 5 continents and was a Peace Corps volunteer in West Africa. Please welcome Virginia Swain. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much, Erica. It's wonderful to be with you all. I don't know what happened to my screen just then, but welcome to all of you. And I'm glad to be welcomed so beautifully by Erica and have worked so long with Brenda to get this ready. Thank you. I'd like to also thank my support committee who are here, Jane Cutting, Melissa Mastro Stefano, and Karen Gassenhofen. So I'd like to begin by just saying it would be wonderful for you all to introduce yourself. And we'd like to do that after some worship and after I play a chant by a friend, capital F and small f, Paulette Meyer, Quaker singer-songwriter.
Of darkness and death, but an infinite ocean of light and love, which flowed over the ocean of darkness. In that I also saw the infinite love of God, and I had great openings.
After a moment of worship, I'd like to have everyone introduce themselves with just a word about what drew you here today. So let's have a moment of worship first. Brenda, will you start?
Would you like me to put it in the chat or just say it?
Just say it.
Say it. A longing for healing in the world.
Thank you, Brenda. Would you choose someone? And then we can go from there.
I'll choose Debbie Heaton.
Hello, I'm from Indiana, and I worry about the poverty with our children.
Thank you. You choose someone?
Adams.
Okay, thank you. Erica?
I worry that people can no longer talk to each other, that they've taken ideological stances and that the polarization facilitates nothing. So kind of obvious since I created this talk show.
Thank you. You choose someone, Erica?
Mary Finley?
So my name is Mary Finney, and I'm in Ohio, and am relatively new to the North Columbus meeting here, and but anyway, I was just telling a friend recently that one of my heroes has been Elise Boulding, and I was just so excited when she told me about this, because I'm just very excited about how you understand her work and how you do your work. Yes.
Thank you, Mary. Did you choose someone, Mary?
Oh yes, I choose Lynn Tabor.
I'm here to support Virginia.
Thank you, Lynn.
You're welcome. I choose Clyde. He's next to me in this grid.
I'm Clyde Tyndale. I'm with the West Falmouth Meeting Zoom Tech Committee, and that's why I'm here.
Glad you're here, Clyde. Thanks for all your help.
And let's see, I've been keeping track of who's been chosen. I'll go for Melissa.
Hello, I'm Melissa, and I'm from Rhode Island. And the reason that I'm here is because I want to develop myself to be the best that I can be as a peacemaker, and become more aware of what part I can play in this world.
Thank you so much, Melissa.
You're welcome.
Wonderful to have you here. Melissa is one of the people in the pilot program we're running this fall. She and Karen. Would you like to choose Karen so she can speak? Karen is another participant in the program.
Hi, everybody. I'm from Sterling, Massachusetts. I'm here because I'm supporting Virginia, and I have a deep care and concern for our current individual to global systems disintegration. And I support the teachings of the Reconciliation Leadership Program.
You choose someone, Karen?
Sure. Jane Cutting.
Hi, I'm Jane Cutting, and I'm an attender of the Worcester Friends meeting, and I'm here to support Virginia. And in addition, I believe in spite of everything, we live in a world of infinite possibility, and I think the reconciliation leadership is an opportunity to live that out. And I don't know, is there anyone left that I just have 9? Oh, okay, I'm going to choose Karen. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Rysak?
Rayshak.
Rayshak, okay.
I'm Karen Rayshak. I'm from Keene Meeting in New Hampshire. And I was the clerk of the New York Yearly Meeting Conflict Transformation Committee. And I'm not familiar with Virginia Swain's work, and I'm very eager to hear what she's been doing. And I will pick Barbara.
My name is Barbara Lesage. I am currently in Columbus, Ohio, worshiping with North Columbus Friends Meeting, but originally from New England and at Friends Meeting at Cambridge, so it's delightful to hear some of the Massachusetts accents, which I miss. And I also came in late, so I didn't really hear the instructions, but trying to gather from what other people were sharing, maybe what we were hoping for, or why we were here, maybe, or something we were worried about. I do worry about what we're teaching children, and suppressing some of their expression of emotions and what that actually teaches them about power differentials and power over. And I'm hoping that today I learn a bit more about what's my work in the world to do and what might be some ways forward. So, curious to learn.
Barbara, would you like to choose someone to speak? I think there's still a few more people that haven't spoken. I don't think Pat has spoken.
Okay, let's go with Pat then.
Could you unmute Pat?
Yeah, my name is Pat Allen, and I'm from Brookline, Massachusetts. And I'm here to support Cynthia Rankin and to learn what you have to say. This is a first time experience for me. And I worry about the polarization of all of us and the we they thing. So I'm I'd like to know what I can do to help, because I think so many people, including me, self-censor each other, because we're sometimes concerned that if we say something towards finding the truth, we may hurt other people's feelings. So that's the problem I have, is how to speak in a frank way without hurting people. I'm Christian, well, but I live in a Hebrew senior home. Wonderful, wonderful people, and people here are hurting, very hurt, and sometimes very angry. And it's sometimes it's difficult to know what to say and how to act to let people know that you care about them. But I should say, but that's the thing. It's for me is finding out how to communicate, how I can successfully say what's in my head to come out through my mouth. Do you know what I'm saying? It's difficult to find the right words to communicate.
Thank you, Pat. Could you choose either Paula or Molly?
Molly, I choose. Thank you.
Thank you. What everyone has said already, I'm Molly Cornell from West Falmouth. I'm here to learn, and I'll choose Nan.
Muted myself, and I apologize. It's wonderful to hear all of this from everybody from around the country. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio, so it's fun to hear that there are people from there. I'm just think that there's so many different areas that we can use reconciliation, and I'm just here to learn what that is, what some of those possibilities are, and a new way of thinking. And as far as what I worry about, I don't know where do you start, so I can't even begin. Has Cynthia introduced herself?
No, I'm Cynthia Rankin from West Falmouth, preparative meeting, and yeah, everybody really has spoken for me as well. I just don't think we're doing a very good job right now of reconciliation, and would like to know how to be more effective and how I might be involved. Yeah, that's it. And I think, is there somebody else? There might be somebody else? My thing switching.
Bernie.
And when Bernie, yeah, Bernie, did you speak?
Merrily Rima.
Okay.
Good afternoon, Bernie Nolan, North Falmouth. I'm Cape Cod, and I'm a member of West Falmouth Preparative Meeting. And who is next?
Hi, I can go if you can hear me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Merrily Reamer. I'm from Eastern Canada, New Brunswick Monthly Meeting, and I'm originally from Los Angeles. I'm a researcher looking at women's leadership and women's careers in the insurance industry. I wanted to see if there were some new ideas about women's participation in organizations. So that's why I'm here. And I don't know who to choose because I really don't have the list. Does anybody else want to
Yeah,
go?
Innocent Nunda just joined.
You'll have to unmute Innocent.
Innocent is unmuted now.
Innocent, will you introduce yourself?
Yes, I'm hearing from you. I'm Innocent Nunda from Congo. You're meeting. I'm a Quaker and I'm very happy to join with you in this session. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Innocent. Nice to have you here. Is that everyone now? Everyone has spoken? Oh, Leon.
Sorry?
Leon, can you just say your name and where you're from? Leon?
Yeah,
Unmute
I
yourself.
am from Democratic Republic of Congo. From Democratic Republic of Congo. Yeah,
Welcome. Welcome to you.
yeah, okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's start our presentation now. So as you see, this is a succession planning journey that I'm on. I'm 80 years old now, and after 30 years of working at the UN and being found clear by Friends meeting at Cambridge to go to the UN 30 years ago, or it's longer now, but I really felt a calling, a leading to make sure that my ministry still exists after I die. So I'm on a journey with New England Yearly Meeting, Lyman Fund, Obadiah Brown, and others who are here. I'm really glad to be here with you all. So I chose a passage from Faith and Practice, British Yearly Meeting. Do you foster the spirit of mutual understanding and forgiveness, which our discipleship asks of us? Do you remember that each one of us is unique, precious, a child of God? In what ways are you involved in the work of reconciliation between faith, individuals, groups, faith? Sorry, that slide. I guess we'll just go on to the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had the worship and centering. We had a chant by Quaker Paulette Meyer. We introduced ourselves, and now we're going to have an experiential process taught to me by my mentor, Elise Boulding. How can I rebuild, heal a relationship with another person, a meeting in the United States? And after that, I'll introduce the Reconciliation Leadership Program that has been adopted by New England Yearly Meeting, and introduce the full program that begins in April of 24, and ask for questions and comments, and close with a poem by John O'Donohue. So this program recognizes all human beings and institutions for their uniqueness, need, and capacity for transformation. The program that I've designed for Quakers and for the UN is Leadership from the Inside Out. The overview of the imaging process, which is the visioning process, is, I'll introduce that, but just so you know, if you don't see images, it's okay to get words. Words or images are fine. Whatever happens when you go into this visualization will be perfect. So don't worry if you don't get images. I'm going to prompt to help you find your place beyond the hedge to your imagination. Well, I'm going to give you 5 minutes after we leave the hedge for you to put your image and words on paper. I'm assuming you all have paper and colored markers now. If you don't, why don't you get them? And then we're going to share your image in a facilitated breakout room with another person. And the second and third part of the imaging process is to look for, make a timeline and an action plan. So we're going to look for common and diverse themes in the breakout room, and you'll get this prompt at the time, so don't worry about remembering it. But this is the first thing to make your image practical, and we'll make a begin to make an action plan in our large group together. So you'll leave this workshop with the first action step for your image. So Elder Elise Boulding doesn't believe that you could resolve a challenge at the level they were created. So she believes in motivating behavior in the present by using images of the future. So again, this is one of the instructions that I gave you before. Remembering that imaging is not about art or technique. It's about imagination and using words and pictures to capture your imagination. So I would like you all to close your screen for just a moment so you have a little sense of privacy, and get your paper and markers on the table in front of you. Remove anything else that might disturb you, or just energetically it'd be good not to have things on your table. So put them on the floor and just take a moment to just breathe. Notice your breath. In and out. And with the next in-breath, just notice that you're bringing in new life with this breath. Very powerful thing to bring in new life. And with the out-breath, release anything that is not of the light. Any worries that you have, any concerns. Just release it with the out-breath. And for those who didn't hear me, I'm asking you to close your video screen, because I'd like you to have a private experience now. Just with you and your paper and markers. With the next in-breath, allow the light to come in again. This time bring love. Bring love to yourself. With the out-breath, release. As you bring in the next in-breath, know that you are bringing more light and love into this world at a time that is so needed, at a time when the ocean of darkness is filling us. You are starting to bring the ocean of light in the world. And with the next in-breath, notice that you are on a path. It's your own path. You are on your own journey. You are in a beautiful place in nature. And you notice that your senses are heightened in this place in nature. Your sense of smell is heightened. You can smell the flowers so beautifully and so pungently. You notice that the bird song is even more acute. It's almost like your senses have been turned up and you hear the bird song in your heart. And with the next in-breath, allow yourself to touch a tree and feel the kinesthetic sense of that tree. The roughness, and you feel it so acutely in such a connection to the tree. And as you walk along, you notice a table with your favorite food. And as you partake, your sense of taste is heightened. And you're so grateful. Continuing along your path, you see a little stream. And if you would like to take a drink, you notice it's very clean water. Just take a deep drink of water. Refreshed from the water, you continue on your path and you notice the hedge in front of you. And you know that when you go through that hedge, you want to be a very different space. You'll be in your imagination. So now go through the little gate, open the door to your imagination. And as you look around, you'll notice that everything is different. All the possibilities that you'd hoped for, all the resources that you need to heal your challenge are in front of you. So whatever you decide to work on in this imagination, whether you'll be reconciling a relationship with someone else, whether you'll be reconciling a relationship with your meeting, or healing something that's happening in your meeting, or whether your concern is about the United States and its actions in the world. Just see the answer to your challenge right in front of you and ask for what you need. Ask your imagination to show you the solution to your challenge. As you look around, you see relationships. Notice those relationships. How are people acting with one another? You see institutions and buildings. You see light. You see love. And just notice how important what you're seeing is for your future. And as you look around again in your imagination, you're given more information about how to heal your challenge. Take a deep breath and digest everything in your heart. And let it come in, this healing to your challenge. See the movement. And there may be more, so take another look around. See if there's anything else that could heal your challenge. And again, put it in your heart, all this information. And know that you'll remember after we leave the hedge, after we leave the imagination, you'll remember everything that happened. So now, carrying everything in your heart, not forgetting one thing. You start to leave your imagination, knowing that you can come back here anytime. And you go through the hedge, through the gate, through the door, to your path, where all your senses are still heightened as a way to start to digest all that has happened. Take a deep breath. And now come to the end of your path, into your seat. Feel the seat underneath you, your feet on the floor. And without making eye contact with anyone, take your paper and markers and try to depict either through words or images, through color and shape. Remember, this is not being an artist. This is just about recording what you saw with color and shape. And take 5 minutes. I'll give you a prompt at 4 minutes, so you'll know that we'll be stopping in 1 more minute. But take 5 minutes with your paper and markers and depict everything that you saw in your imagination on your paper with your markers. Now take another minute to finish your drawings and come back to the large group. And as you come back, you'll be put in a breakout room with another person to share your words or your image, and begin to make, after you share your image, begin to make a timeline. Begin to be aware that you'll want to make this practical in your life. So you'll begin thinking about what is the first step that has to happen in your timeline to make your image a reality or practical. So you'll be sharing that with your partner in the breakout room. So Clyde will put you in breakout rooms. Are you ready, Clyde?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead. Well, it's wonderful having you both in the breakout room. Paula, would you like to tell us what you saw in your imagination?
I'm not a picture person, so I had to write it. I don't know if you can see it, but I'll lift it up.
Yeah, it looks great.
So I had, starting with fear and disconnection, coming to building trust as a first step, and then being in right relationship, and then finding mutual ground, and then inspiration between the two people.
So this is reconciling with somebody you were having trouble with?
Yes.
Okay, great.
And then we can look at actions to be taken to repair the harm, and the direction we need to go in, and then hopefully have an accomplishment at the end of it.
Sounds like you're very willing. Do you know if the other person is willing?
Hopefully.
You'll find out, right?
You will find out. And then, of course, it may take time to have appreciation. And from there, more love and connection than there was before.
Beautiful. So Paula, let's just take a moment digesting that beautiful sequence, what you just got, and think about it in terms of a timeline. What has to happen first before anything else in order for this to become real and practical?
Thank you, Paula. That was beautiful. Mine is whoops, hang on. Let me change my blurred screen. Okay, so mine is out of this intense period that's brown of fear, war, hate, disruption of our institutions, pain, loss, grief, death, across, personal to global. What do we do from there? And so my idea is to pretty much do some inner work on myself here, and to change my brain state out of fear and fight or flight and blame and pointing the finger, that sort of thing. And here's the light, this spiral of light, of divinity. Try and stay in this light and care and presence of the goodness inside each one of us that we each carry in our spirit. That spirit is around us at all times. And if we can change our brain state and then make a decision to have right thought and to try to believe that I can have right thought, and that can overpower my my fear, and that could lead to my changing my narrative about my own life, coming to right word, and then from there going to right action. And that could change on my personal level to the local, some local. I think healing begins in ourself here, and then maybe we make a personal shift. That could be taking care of a grandchild, or it could be local, helping out your homeless kids on the street, something like that, to global, to world peace, and that we're all part of this energetic rebirthing, this coming out of this chrysalis of pain and despair. And I see this as an evolutionary moment that's tremendous and full of opportunity and possibilities, but only if we choose right thought and take care of ourselves first in order to be able to put that oxygen mask on the person next to us once we have it on ourselves, so to speak, as the plane is going to the ground. That's pretty much it.
So, Karen, you just said starting with yourself first?
Yeah.
What's the first step on your timeline?
So my first step has to do with really recovering from the grief of my son who took his life 4 years ago. And that's been a source of extreme grief and sorrow and has impacted my life. And it's been a long haul, but I've had to choose this right thought. I've had to choose to stay positive. I've had to, moment by moment, make choices about what I choose to believe in, what I choose to think about. And I am making strides, and I am waking up, and I am coming back to my energy. And my life is opening up in a way. So there's this healing happening. The fallout from losing a child cuts across the family, cuts across everything in my life. And so, so really it's about making individual choices to who I choose to be with, about good boundaries, about, I guess my first step realistically is to start enacting I'm a grief recovery specialist. And I think that's very important now that I'm much more aware of the grief and the sorrow and the losses in this whole world, that there's certainly a place for me to impact some healing on that level from children up through elders. I guess that would be my first, which I've started to do. I have grief retreats and grief programs, but then also something bigger than that actually is my next step. How to create this reconciliation work as it relates to my skills.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm really glad that we had a chance to have small groups, because this is a rather large group for us today. So let's think about how would we take it to the next step. In Elise Boulding's process, she has the imaging or the words first, then the timeline. And let's just imagine for a moment that you finished your timeline. I know we only did one step in the timeline, but let's just imagine that we are ready for the action step. What is the action step that you would need to do the minute you leave this meeting to make your image or words a reality? And we can just do, anyone could unmute their screen and just say what it is that you need to do first thing.
Okay, I'll go. For me, it has to do with grief recovery work, which I became a grief recovery specialist after the loss of my son when he took his life 4 years ago. That I can even say those words out loud without melting down shows that I am recovering. Anyway, to address the grief and loss around me locally, give away these trainings, try to find any institutions or organizations where I might be able to impact the grief and loss from children through elders. That's my first step.
Thank you, Karen. Anyone else like to jump in?
Sure, I will. My my challenge is to use my voice and not be afraid to use it, and to realize that there are places where everyone is standing around and not speaking, and maybe it's my turn. Maybe it's my turn just to do it. And I'm about to write a letter to the editor, and that's my first step.
What a beautiful first step. Thank you, Molly. Yes, I can't see your first name.
That me?
Yes.
Nan Logan, I'm Falmouth, and my next step is, I think, to get in touch with Jane Cutting and to see if I can get involved with the Worcester Friends meeting to let them know what I'm learning about firearms and what steps they can take to make us all in a better relationship with our toxic, that part of our culture that's sort of dangerous.
Thank you so much. Beautiful. These are amazing things have happened in just a short time, right? Lynn, are you ready to speak?
Mine is not as concrete as what I've heard so far. Mine is more of a belief that peace is really possible. Like, I mean, I know intellectually that is true, but I'm really disheartened. So I have to believe that the path forward really is possible.
Yes. Thank you, Lynn. Beautiful. Please don't hold back. I'd love to hear what you're all thinking. Jane?
I drew a picture of a river, but there were streams going out of the river and coming into the river. And those streams represented reaching out and extending myself, but also allowing things to come in. And I think what Nan said comes the stream coming in so that these streams can converge and invite Nan to Worcester Friends meeting to talk about gun violence. So I really see a convergence. I see a connection. Image that I had. So I think that's a next step.
Thank you, Jane. That's what I was hoping would happen. There would be kind of cross-fertilization of ideas and things would come from there. That's great. That's great. Erica, did you have something you wanted to say? No? Okay. Karen.
Well, it weighs on me that our government funds so much for destruction. And so I drew a picture of the Pentagon with an X through it, and then a dollar bill that's going for diplomacy, healing, restoration, and peace. And then another arrow going to Friends Committee on National Legislation and my legislators. And the first step is really thinking and centering and acting out of love rather than anger. And the second step is to study so that I'm not just ranting. And the third step is to write, and the fourth step is to visit.
Beautiful. Beautiful steps, Karen. Thank you. And I would like to be in touch with you after this meeting with what you've been doing in New York. Thank you. Anyone else? I'm hoping that some more of you will speak, because once someone has spoken, it's interesting how the connections come. We like to see what is common in our images and what is different, what is diverse. And I believe that the divine gives us all a piece of the puzzle. I really do. I believe that our leadings all connect with one another. And that if we were to consider that we're a shared patchwork quilt, that these leadings could be seen on the patchwork quilt, couldn't they? as complementary to one another.
I'd like to just mention that I'd love to be in touch with Karen about her grief recovery, and some action steps that maybe we could bring to our meeting. So, Karen, let's.
Absolutely. I would love that, Paula. I'll put my contact info in the chat.
Why don't you all put your emails in the chat, just so in case people want to connect with you around your action steps. We haven't heard from some of the people. I don't know if you're being shy or don't want to. Mary, you want to speak?
Yeah, I wanted to just say that I just thought about the form of the circle and the form of the heart, and around it were just people who were holding hands together, influencing, touching each other, moving that sharing, which was from the body and from the mind and from the spirit, helping us to learn together. I thought about it as faith and action in the world. I thought about it as listening. I thought of it as intergenerational, and that it was deep diving and surfacing to make a difference in our communities here and in the world.
Beautiful. Mary, thank you so much. You're the one that knew Elise Boulding?
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I read her pamphlets. I read her books on women and history,
Yeah.
and invited her to a conference at Case Western.
Oh, great.
Where she really helped present this. And then I went with the daughter to a peace conference at Antioch, and she was there. She was presenting this, and I did it with my daughter. And so all of that, it just really, she and more things than that, I guess, just made me feel like, although, you know, I wasn't a close friend of hers, I really have honored her all for a long time. And so I'm just so happy to be thinking about this and the process that brings people together to do this.
She never turned anyone down as a mentor, as a mentee, I should say. So she was a very busy woman. Anyone else like to, before we move on? I just love to hear what you're all thinking about and what came to you during the time in your imagination. Barbara Lesage, I see that your hand is raised.
Yeah. I'm not as crystal clear as I like to be before I speak, so that's been some of the hesitancy. I think this is a work in progress, and
yeah, absolutely.
I think my vision and challenge is there are I identified 4 types of energy. It's 4 types of people, behaviors, and energy that comes from certain people that are very challenging for me to be around and maintain my connection to the loving spiritual person that I long to be. And as a way to maintain who I want to be is to not be around those energies. And that doesn't really work for me. I mean, it's been what I've been doing, but I guess the work I'm trying to do is how to be with people who behave and emanate in ways that are challenging for me to be around, and how do I be with them and not have an agenda to want to change them and make them stop these behaviors in ways that don't work well for me. And so I think the closest I've come to like a action step is to stop looking at the behavior that I want to change and that I find so challenging, and to instead try to connect with that hurting, identify more with what is the message they're trying to convey. What is it they're really needing? Because clearly their actions and words are causing me to want to recoil or retreat. And so how to not allow that first presentation to affect me, but go beyond that. And I don't know. So again, this is why I'm hesitant to speak, because it doesn't feel as clear as I want it to be.
It's a very powerful witness, though, Barbara, and what I believe everyone has to do. That's what reconciliation leadership starts with. So you're a perfect segue to the next part of our program. I just want to make sure Cynthia or Melissa, Marilee. Cynthia, did you want to say anything?
I'll say something.
Hold on one sec. Cynthia, then Melissa.
No, actually, let me see where what Barbara said sort of reflects what I was thinking, and I said that to Karen is that I needed to start within myself and reconciling.
Yes.
With people that I don't necessarily agree with, and how do I continue to be open and listen, and give a posture that says I'm listening and I hear you. Doesn't mean I'm going to agree, but not necessarily going with an agenda and wanting to change things. And then what Karen and I were talking about before was, that's that centering, that thinking, and finding out where you are, and then proceeding with some kind of action, either on a personal level or with our representatives and our wonderful friends, organizations that speak on our behalf, and supporting them as well.
So this program, as you'll find out, starts exactly what you're talking about. Thank you so much for that beautiful, beautiful statement. Melissa, did you want to say something?
Yes. I hesitated because I was questioning the value, but for me, the action step is to clear my life of things, and my head. And so I'm wanting to really concentrate on what's most important. And I have a lot of things that it's like clutter that other people can use, and I waste my time moving things around. And so I'm just really wanting to physically make space for newness, because there's so many unhomed people. And I was thinking, well, like I have space, but it's not well used. Or and then priorities, like, okay, well, if I have less things to manage, they're really not that important, then I can have time to devote to things that have higher significance.
Thank you, Melissa. It's really important. I noticed Pat is not able to turn on her audio and video. Pat, do you want to write something in the chat about what you would say as your action step? Would you like to say anything, Marilee?
No, I'm still mulling a lot of my thoughts right now. Thanks.
I want to support those who say that their thoughts aren't completely ready yet, because many of you are introverts, and introverts need time to think things through before they speak. And this is a rather extroverted process that we're in. So I understand if you haven't completely finished. thinking. So I hope that you'll take the time you need to think these things through. Erica?
I wanted to make sure everybody spoke before I did and to get a chance. Yeah. So I mean, basically, mine, you see right here is a little, like in a cartoon, you have a box where someone speaks.
Yeah.
So the whole thing, I think, is just what in Hindu principle we call a thought form.
Yeah.
And basically that I'm this person right here, I'm pretty balanced. And then I go up into the circle, which is very much like all this chaos on the outside, which is probably normal every day.
Mm-hmm.
And earth something here. And it goes up through my own chaos, absorbed with the outside chaos, and keeps going up and is surrounded by a kind of light here. And then becomes clearer and almost like how to say, a bowl of clarity and calm. And so the whole thing being just a dialogue bubble in a cartoon, essentially,
Wow.
throws the whole thing off as just something that's passing.
Thank you so much, Erica. So I'm going to just stop this process now, having heard, I believe, from everyone. Now, Marilee says in the chat, she's still crystallizing the thoughts she has about women's leadership in insurance, smaller Atlantic Canada companies. And I asked her to let me know when she's ready to speak. And anyone else who is who wants to think about things further can be in touch with me, and I'll give you information on how to do that. But in the meantime, let's go back to the PowerPoint. I usually do a composite image when I'm working with groups. And so it gives the idea of the shared quilt idea that I was speaking about a little while ago. Lynn has been part of that process, haven't you, Lynn? That where we all put our images together and it becomes this beautiful patchwork quilt. And this is an image that was done in the beginning of COVID with the theme of hoping to awaken a new earth in wellness, light, and love. That's just an example of what can be done with this process. Now I'm going to explain what happened to me after 30 years at the UN and how did it happen that I'm here with you? Because here I am at 80 years old. I really didn't want my ministry to die when I die. So thankfully, I've had a lot of support and funding. One of the funders is here in this room, Lynn Tabor. Thank you, Lynn, for being here. Lyman Fund.
Yeah, it's not my money, it's the Lyman Fund.
No, I know. I knew. Oh, I'm sorry. I was giving the wrong impression, wasn't it? Sorry. So I believe that the succession planning that I'm in has been incredibly supported. And we're in a pilot program now. It began in September and it's going to go through February. We're going to have a full program beginning in April. I'm hoping some of you will be coming to that full program. We'll be going over 5 months. There's 4 levels of competencies that I teach in this program: the personal, interpersonal, systemic, and global. Leadership from the inside out, as Pat mentioned, is so important to help reconnect to self, others, systems, and the world. But it has to start with ourselves. So we need to relearn and how everyone's important and everyone's needed. I hear a lot of bashing of different people in different groups. And it really upsets me because everyone is a child of God. And that's what we're supposed to believe. So how do we live that out? And so this spiral is the beginning of explaining my model. It starts with a sense of our own leadings and writing a mission statement, and then reconciling with self, anything that needs to be worked on. Karen and Melissa mentioned some things that are important to them. They're part of the pilot. And then we reconcile with the other. Like you do, if you had a chance in the head, you could have chosen that if there was a broken relationship. Everyone needs something right now to heal. And having the time and the support right now is so, so important. And the spiral extends to global systems. It gradually works out to global. And so here's the 5 modules that I'm had a lot of support to develop with. One of the people in my meeting offered to spend the entire month of June with me looking at how to make this a Quaker program from the UN program that I had. So I will go through each module with you, and you'll notice the spiral, the little spiral on each slide, which is a microcosm of the spiral I just showed you. The first one is naming and claiming your gifts and leadings. The way I understand life and as a human being is very, very rarely that we know our goodness, that we claim our goodness. It's so, so important to this program. And as a beginning of reconciling to and reconnecting with self. And often we're taught that we should put our lamp under a bushel, aren't we? That we should not show who we really are. And somehow I've discovered over time, having been taught that myself, that I can do much more good work in the world when I make my gifts and talents known to me and digest them, not in an egotistical way, but rather an ego strength way. Because then I can give them much more intentionally to other people. I can be in service. The second module is about being aware of what a reconciliation leader has to be and what kinds of tools do we need, again, to build on our spiritual muscle, because without living in co-creative relationship to our loving presence, we cannot do this work. Because only God reconciles, only divine reconciles. We can only prepare the space. So we also have to learn to build trust in ourselves and be comfortable with discomfort as a principle of growth, because we weren't taught to be so self-reflective, were we? Learning conflict skills and how to keep conflict at a healthy level. Very, very important. Most people don't realize that it's okay to have misunderstanding or a problem to solve, that kind of conflict, because you can solve that with intention, with centering. But if you sweep conflict under the rug, it's not healthy. The third module is about looking at our unconscious. The research at Yale University's John Barr says that 90% of our waking life is unconscious. Can you imagine the kind of human soup that we live in? I think that's what we're all talking about, isn't it? So hard. So we have to recognize behaviors that lead toward healing and those that stand in the way, because we're not used to being intentional about finding those and living those healing behaviors. And the role of the unconscious can be a guide and teacher. For a while, I studied, I went through Parker Palmer's program for renewal of leaders, and he's a very important writer on the role of the unconscious. Parker Palmer is a Quaker teacher. I'm sure you've all heard of him. How important it is to understand our emotional triggers and withdrawing projections. The withdrawing projections is something that's part of the human condition. We all project everything on each other without realizing it. And withdrawing them intentionally is so important to a reconciled world. Moving from blame to accountability. Blame is the #1 problem in this world. It makes everything worse. When you feel blame, don't you feel terrible? Oh my gosh, I sure do. So think about withdrawing blame from your vocabulary and just be accountable for your behavior without blaming other people. #4, introducing change in meetings. I use systems thinking. Learn why systems are resistant to change. When you think of it as a system, we realize that we're all in this together. We all have responsibility. And to create a healthy system, we can actually co-create it ourselves without needing to blame anyone. I think that's a problem in our meetings, because we tend to think somebody's at fault instead of realizing our part in it. And for a system to respond effectively to crises, the stresses on the meetings must not exceed its strength. Kenneth Boulding is Elise's husband, economist, very well-known economist, who wrote this in Stable Peace. He and Elise wrote a book about imaging as well, if you're interested. Then I go through case studies and I give a practicum, let people get a chance to practice what they've learned. And with some of the case studies that I've prepared for them, here are some of the ones that I've done over the years, a lot of years. So what do I mean by trusting relationships? What makes someone trustworthy? Someone who has emotional balance and healthy conflict skills? Some of the research shows that ability, integrity, and benevolence are important. Delivering results, do what you say you'll do. Ability, integrity, live up to the values we set. Honesty, openness, being fair. Benevolence, concern for the well-being of others. Kindness, so important that we're kind to one another. So the gift that I gave to the UN is a way to heal repeated internal ruptures born of unhealed historic conflict patterns. And so I'm offering that to the Quakers now. Is it time to heal our schism? Time to have tools? Time to be awake and see that we're brothers and sisters, we're all children of God working together? This is a wonderful quote by Parker Palmer about the intersection of community and our connections in the heart. This is a class that I held at the United Nations, some of the participants. Some of my teachers, mentors, include my mother. She's there, she is with me on the far left, and then my husband, Joseph. We met at the UN when we were both 50, and we've carved a life together with our shared knowledge of the UN and its healing. There's a picture of me with Elise Boulding when she had Alzheimer's. She said to me, wouldn't it be amazing? Somebody's told me I wrote 50 books. Maybe I should read them, she told me. This is Thomas Bianco, a Hopi elder that has been very important to me, teacher, friend. Parker Palmer, a street child I met at the Earth Summit. So part of my work is to restore faith in the UN is to look at the charter. I had a dream of a phoenix when I was in the UN on 9/11 that night after the attack on the World Trade Center. And this is, you'll see the phoenix in the Security Council after World War II, which, unfortunately, there were 400 wars after that. People didn't realize we needed personal, interpersonal skills. Most people have the systemic and global, but they don't have the personal, interpersonal. So that's the key for me. So when I wrote my memoir, my second memoir, actually, I made sure that I talked about my own process, how I became a reconciliation leader. This is a mission statement by one of the reconciliation leaders. And there's 6 steps that I've developed. Restoring faith in oneself, restoring faith with the other, restoring faith in the family and marriage, restoring faith in business, developing reconciliation leaders and the peace-building process of reconciliation to empower ordinary people to act for the common good, restoring faith in the US, restoring faith in the UN, personal to the global, just like the spiral. This is a poem by John O'Donohue that those of us in the program read every day to each other. May you recognize in your life the presence, power, and light of your soul. May you realize that you are never alone, that your soul and its brightness and belonging connects you intimately with the rhythm of the universe. May you have respect for your own individuality and difference. May you realize that the shape of your soul is unique, that you have a special destiny here, that behind the facade of your life, there's something beautiful, good, and eternal. May you learn to see yourself with the same delight, pride, and expectation with which the divine sees you in every moment. Here's more information if you'd like. We can send you the PowerPoint, some of the applications, some academic papers I've written, and also some other presentations with imaging. If you'd like a copy of the slides, you can connect with me at virginiawoodswain@gmail.com. So this is a chance for you to ask questions, comments, anything you'd like to say about this work that I consider my succession planning journey. And I'd love to hear from you, and remembering that if you need time, you can always contact me later. Anyone want to speak now? Paula?
So I just want to state that I'm amazed in the very short amount of time that we worked together in the first exercise, how quickly I could come to an understanding and a realization that this work is very, very powerful. And I'm just really excited about how to take it and use it in the world. So I just want to thank you for the work that you're doing, and just let you know that there, in this group alone, I would love to understand and know more about the work that people are doing here. So really very, very special. Thank you.
I want to say how important everyone is. I want you to think about how important you are, because everyone is needed. Everyone is needed. The divine created us, that we all have a piece of the puzzle. And without that understanding, there'll be a hierarchy or a patriarchy, won't there, of people who think they know the answers without empowering everyone. And we can't call anyone names anymore. No more calling white men unconscious. We can't do that anymore. We have to stop our projections. Please, for the sake of our goodness and our mercy, there's so many other ways to speak to people. It gives me hope to be in this meeting with you all. It gives me a lot of energy. And this is why I'm doing it, because I know that everybody has a piece of the puzzle, and there has to be a lot of people out there doing this work like Karen is doing in New York yearly meeting. But think about how important it is that everyone get empowered with the skills and perspectives and assumptions that are necessary to move our world forward, our country forward, ourselves, our meetings, because the Quaker meetings are an incredible legacy for the world if we were to be empowered right now.
I'm wondering if you could share something about the pilot program or the program that you're going to be doing in April. Or is it the same?
Yeah, the one I just shared with you, the slides, the 5 modules, is a taste of that program. But if you want to learn more, you're certainly welcome to give me a call or email. I'll be glad to talk with you more about it. We'll be choosing people for that program in early 2024, but it's not too early to ask questions.
Thanks.
I'd love to have anyone here in this program. It feels like we started something, doesn't it? The patchwork quilt. Karen.
This morning at the meeting, the Quaker meeting in Jamestown, there was so much concern about the war in the Middle East. And I didn't interject my thoughts or feelings because I'm still a new learner here at the Reconciliation Leadership Program, but there is so much interest and there's so much desperation and seeking answers to get out of this D-loop of old behaviors, these old entrenched behaviors and assumptions. And so anyhow, I have such hope coming from that meeting, feeling that poignancy of concern and wanting to somehow make a shift. And I, coming from the personal to the global makes so much sense to me right now. And it's given me so much hope. So thank you so much, Virginia, and everybody that spoke today. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. It's wonderful to have you in our program. You and Melissa. There she is. Anyone else like to say anything? If not, I'd like to show you two more things about this program that I didn't get to. I don't want to stop anyone from speaking though. Let me share my screen. I have a couple more things to share with you. This is the overarching vision that came from Arnold Toynbee, who wrote The Study of History. He studied 21 civilizations in his 12 volumes. He developed a model of tracing the birth, growth, and decay of every civilization. Throughout, he held that authentic religion and spirituality gives civilizations its vitality. When religious and spiritual groups decay, civilizations fall. Toynbee feared the West was perishing after the tragedy of the two world wars. The UN was our only hope at that time. But it was conceived in member states' self-interest 75 years ago, the death knell of a world needing cooperation. There have been nearly 300 wars since its founding. So this page shows a little bit about my vision about how we could actually build trust together. And I asked Paulette Meyer, who you heard earlier, many of you may know her. She lives in Ohio. This is a chant that she wrote from the words of Dag Hammarskjöld, which are on the meditation room. She wrote this chant for me maybe 2 decades ago, and I'll play it for you now. We all have a center of stillness surrounded by silence.
We all have within us a center of stillness surrounded by silence. We all have within us a center of stillness surrounded by silence. This house, dedicated to work and debate in the service of peace, should have one room dedicated to outward silence and inner stillness. Join in this work of peace and enter this small room where doors may be open to the infinite lands of thought and prayer.
I just wanted to be sure you heard Paulette's chant with the words outside the meditation room at the UN. So moving, aren't they? When we hear our friend sing them, and how inspiring they were for people who I brought to that room. Do you know most people who work there have never been to the meditation room? They usually running so fast by it, they're so busy, they don't take a turn in that room, and it was one of my jobs to invite people into that room. Let's just take a moment of silence, and then if anyone would like to write in the chat something that they would like to leave with us, some thoughts, reflection, what would you like to leave with us today? Just put it in the chat after we have a moment of silence. Our silence is such a great gift to give to this world right now. What an amazing gift. What an amazing time. We stop our busyness together. Just be with each other. Every one of you is so important. I hope you never forget that. I would like to thank Brenda and Clyde and Erica and Paula for all that you have done to help me get this program here, especially Erica. Erica and I met at the Quaker Institute for the Future in the summertime. Thank you, Erica.
Thank you so much for coming and giving this workshop. And I hope it's continuing in the future. Stay well. And thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you, Virginia. Thank you all. Thanks, Lynn, for coming. Thank you, everyone.